What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, big brother Jerry Larson, here to talk the final season, final week of the college football season. Not the final season of this podcast. Final week, college football season, rivalry week, game starting Thanksgiving night with the Turkey Bowl. Son of a beaver, I am on fire. With the Egg Bowl. You'll probably be playing in a turkey bowl.
I was going to say, you'll be eating turkey.
Yeah. On your way, you might be in a turkey bowl. You'll be eating turkey. You might be eating turkey from a bowl.
In the turkey bowl.
Yeah, you never know. So that's what's coming up. Jared loving the card this week. I believe he's got 9 plays as he chokes on his pizza, folks. He might not make it to the turkey day. He can't wait any longer. Can't eat that pizza fast enough. He's ready to rock.
Excited. I'm so excited. Whoa.
Oh, it is going to be a great weekend of football. But Jared, you got 9 picks, so once you get done, take a sip of Mountain Dew. Really let that slide down your gullet. Breathe, and then let's hear your first. Give me your first 2 picks.
Starting in the Egg Bowl, starting Thursday night, boys and girls. Ole Miss, plus a 2.5. This opened up as Ole Miss 1-point favorite. Completely disagree with the line movement. Really like what I've seen from John Reese or John Rice Plumlee. Anyways, the Plumlee kid, the quarterback, is extremely dynamic on his feet. I've been fading Mississippi State for 2 years now. I think Joe Moorhead is in above his head. I've been pretty public about that. And I think this team's ready to just have the season be over. I know that you can get into some of this narrative stuff where they're 5-6 and they can win this game and go to the bowl game. And look, I just don't care. I don't think these kids from Mississippi care about going to Memphis for the Liberty Bowl. That's not going to motivate them, in my estimation, based on what I know about these players. To be any more motivated to beat their in-state rival. The in-state rivalry is enough and is sufficient for what they're trying to do. Yep. And I just think Ole Miss is a better team than they are, especially at this point with John Reese at quarterback.
Yeah,
so that's pick number 1. Thursday.
Plumlee's a beast.
Dude's a beast. We watch them in our game. They've been a covering machine. Ole Miss has. Game number 2, nooner. On Friday, Virginia plus 3 against Virginia Tech. I'm going to go back against my boys here. I think they sent out my guy Bud Foster on the right note with a shutout victory at home, but now have to go on the road, a tough spot in Charlottesville. A rivalry that, candidly, Virginia Tech has dominated for the last couple of decades. So Virginia's got a pretty good team. I really like Bronco Mendenhall. This is a couple of coaches that I actually quite enjoy watching, both of them. But I think last year was just putrid that they didn't get it done. But I think they'll be able to handle their business at home against a Virginia Tech team that has a little bit of a tough time moving the ball up and down the field. So I'll take Virginia plus the 3.
I like it. So my first take is actually I got a little bit more stones than you do. I'm going Ole Miss money line. I got them in at plus 115.
I like that.
I'm with you. I just think that Mississippi State can't. It's 2 things. It's a Mississippi State team that can't, I feel like, score offensively. Ole Miss has shown to score at will with this Plumlee kid. Using him all sorts of ways. It's like when Darren McFadden just kind of burst onto the scene at Arkansas, running that Wildcat and just kind of shredding teams with just numbers advantage. That's what Ole Miss is doing with Plumlee, and Rich Rod is absolutely loving it. He's probably having flashbacks to West Virginia with Pat White. It's just like, oh, yes, this is so great.
Significantly underestimated portion of this whole thing is exactly what you just described.
That what? That Rich Rod's calling the plays?
Yeah, that Rich Rod's got a guy.
Yeah.
And can actually run what he wants to run.
Mm-hmm. And then, defensively, Ole Miss, I feel like, has been doing better and better every single week. They just continue to improve. Matt Luke just continues to smile. The kids love playing for him. And I feel like you said, this Mississippi State team is reeling not only in the locker room, but in the stands. And this is a home game for Mississippi State, but Moorhead's daughter even is getting bullied in classes and getting told about how much her dad sucks as a head coach. So I personally hate to see that, but
yeah, only in the South.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who don't know, Jared and I both going to Auburn, know what it's like when you have a big rivalry between the two major in-state schools and there's no NFL team. I mean, this is everything. So it's going to be an emotional, hard-fought game. These two teams could be, Mississippi State could be undefeated and Ole Miss could have no wins. And this would be a really close football game. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Throw the records out.
It is. I hate that saying, but it's 100% true for this rivalry. Because I think every year so far, the team that's had the better record or looked better on paper. I'm doing air quotes right now. I can't tell if you can tell by my voice fluctuation. I don't wear deodorant. I don't brush my teeth. I got Ole Miss in this one. I think that this is a team that's playing better football late, and for that, I'm all in on the Rebs, Land Sharks, whatever
they are. Bears.
Beats.
You want to give another one?
Yeah, you're up.
Nebraska.
Oh.
Plus 5.5. Going against my boys here. This line just reeks.
Yes, it does.
Nebraska was able to run the ball pretty significantly on Wisconsin a few weeks ago. I think they'll be able to score. I am not threatened at all by Iowa's offense, and I could see the Huskers keeping it inside the number here, potentially with a backdoor, but pretty low total in this game, 44. And I see Scott Frost making a position with his team to get to a bowl game and win a rivalry game for the home squad here. So we've seen some improvement from Nebraska. Certainly not enough for them to be laying points or not super interested in the money line here, but getting 5.5 points, I really do like them at home in a rivalry spot.
Yeah, I like that one.
Nebraska.
Yeah, that was one of those. I looked at the line. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And that always
somebody
just makes
somewhere
you stop.
is telling you something. Just fire away. Say thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah, just listen to that voice inside you. Speaking of listening to that voice inside you, I've been just suppressing it all season. And that word that has been just coming up every time is mullet. Mullet. Oklahoma State at home plus 13 in Bedlam taking on the Sooners.
Mike is back of the well.
Oh, I'm back on the wagon. This Oklahoma team, I think I have watched enough Oklahoma State games this year because I am just a hardcore closet Pokes fan. They can score, and I think they can keep up with Oklahoma. This is a rivalry game. This game's always nuts. It's always close. I got the Cowboys plus 13.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma could have lost any of their previous 3 games.
Yes.
And to have them go on the road and lay 2 touchdowns in a rivalry game definitely stinks to me. I didn't get there with the Pokes because my card is already
loaded. 10
and growing. So this is going to be a big weekend in the Larson household. We'll just put it that way. But final game for me.
Kids might be
Friday,
going to school for free,
or not going to school at all. Memphis minus 11.5 against Cincinnati. I think both of these teams will be playing in the AAC Conference Championship game next week. And as a consequence of that, I see Memphis just continuing to, because their offense is a little bit more vanilla, they don't necessarily have to show anything. I think Cincinnati, the answer to that is a little bit different. They would have to potentially show some of the things that they want, that they would hold back for next week if they wanted to score this week. And we've seen quite a regression from Cincinnati over the last, let's call it 3 or 4 weeks, whereas Memphis, I think, is pointed in the right direction. So I'll take Memphis. I'll lay the points with the Tigers here. 11.5 seems high to me at first blush, but then once you kind of dig into the numbers, I will be on Memphis. and anxiously looking forward to the rematch next week.
Yeah, that was kind of my deterrent from this game is when you got to play a team for a championship literally the following weekend. It's just I don't know how things are going to play out, how people are going to play it. Are they going to try and hold their cards for a while and not show, like you're saying, show too much, or that weird balance?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a precedent with it last year with Boise State and somebody else.
Nevada.
Utah State.
Ooh, that might be it. Because they play this week too.
And they played, so then that's what it was, because they played the last week of the season, then they played in the Mountain West title game, and somebody won the last week of the season, and then the other team blew them out the following week.
Right. I think it was Boise.
So not that has anything to do ultimately with this game, but it's just interesting stuff to look at, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's why you have divisions, folks. So you don't have to worry about all that.
That's why you play the game.
You play to win the game. Next up for me, I got the Tar Heels -10 going to NC State. This NC State team is absolutely hot doo-doo.
Yeah.
And I've just continued to be impressed with this North Carolina team. Mac Brown, I just don't understand it.
I don't get it either. It makes no sense to me.
It really, it's befuddling, to tell you the truth. And this freshman quarterback
look at what's going on at Texas right now. So maybe it's not that befuddling.
Yeah, that's true. The whole narrative of Mac Brown leaving Texas in shambles is starting to change more and more. It's almost like going back to North Carolina was a way to fix, right the legacy of what was left behind for him, because people were bad-mouthing him. I was one of them, saying that he left it and, stripped it down to the studs, and then Charlie Strong came in, and you're starting to see now with USF what really is going on.
Yep.
So, yeah, and this Sam Howell kid is pretty legit. I think he's been by far the best freshman quarterback this year, and I wish I could pull up his stats right now, but he's been very impressive. I've enjoyed watching him play, and I just like this Carolina team. I think they win this handily.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, I agree there. That was one of the last ones left off the list for me, because NC State is a team that I've been playing against last couple weeks now. They're just completely decimated, unfortunately. It's one of those things, like, you don't like to see that for the sake of the kids, but we're all trying to make money here, and that presents a pretty unique opportunity for us to make some money. So I like the angle. I like the thought process, and I have no problem with our loyal listeners getting to the window with North Carolina.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I did pull up his stats, the same how. He's going to go over 3,000 yards in this game. He's got 32 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Now, I will say, of those, 4 came in conference play. 2 of those have been in away games. So, we'll see. Conference game on the road. Still not nervous. 32-6 as a freshman. Are you kidding me? That's phenomenal. And they almost and probably should have beat Clemson.
Yeah, they're good. They're real good.
Yeah.
Look out for them next year.
Yeah, they're going to be. And that linebacker that decommitted from Auburn. Yeah, Mac Brown has rebuilt this program. That's for sure.
Getting dudes.
He is. He's getting dudes.
Next selection for me is Wake Forest.
Ooh, I like it.
Lane 4 on the road. This team continues to get no respect, which I just don't. I still do not understand. A pretty convincing win last week against Duke, which I think could have been much larger. I'm a huge fan of Dave Dorn. I feel like I've made that pretty well known on this podcast many times over. Syracuse, I haven't seen a whole lot from him. I actually put a cash play in on Louisville last week, kind of morning of type of thing. So I'll take Wake Forest here. I'll lay the short number on the road, which is normally, against my religion, but I really like this Wake Forest team and expect them to be solid. Unfortunately, they're in the Clemson division and the ACC, so we'll never get anywhere above Yeah. 9-3 or 10-2.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck it's called. Coastal? What are these stupid things? No, Atlantic. They're in the Atlantic.
Yeah, I was going to say Atlantic,
which is the Clemson division.
The ACC, yeah.
The Coastal is the one that you can actually win.
Yeah. The one that Miami still has. It's so...
No, they can't get in.
How are you going to lose
Virginia
that fight?
plays Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And those two are both 5-2. I'm looking at it right now.
Looking at it. Staring at it.
Staring at it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So the FIU thing wouldn't have mattered for the conference, but embarrassing.
Yeah. My next selection, Michigan hasn't won the game since 2011, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think Ohio State sends big message to the college football world that they are too legit to quit. I think that game against Penn State, and now I had Penn State, it was a bit of a fluke because they're about to blow the gates wide open in that game, and they fumbled it going into the end zone, and I think that was a bit of a momentum swing that gave Penn State life again and gave some fight back to them. I don't see that happening in this one. I think Ohio State is the superior team. I think they got better athletes everywhere. It's now it's at the Big House.
Every position on the field, they're better.
Yeah, it's at the Big House, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Buckeyes should take care of business, I think, easily. Probably by at least, I would say, 17 points.
I'm with you. We have agreement here, and I suppose this would have been one of the gun-to-the-head games. I agree with everything Micah just said. Better at every spot in the field. Complete dominance in this game over the last, let's call it, dozen years. And I think Michigan's looked a little bit better. Ohio State finally had its first blemish, if you can call it that, last week. And as a consequence, this line was a look ahead of 13.5 just last week and has moved all the way down to 8.5 and 9 in some spots. I think it's just a little too cheap having a single digit. Mm-hmm. My only cause for concern here is the Justin Fields injury with the Joe Burrow transfer and then bringing him in. Not the Joe Burrow transfer. I'm sorry. There's another transfer, but there's nobody behind Justin Fields at quarterback at Ohio State.
So Tate Martell is transferred to Miami.
Tate Martell, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the one.
Not even playing in Miami.
Him. It's not. I'm like, it's not him, but somebody transferred. Creates a major potential void. Mm-hmm. So I want to get a little bit more info. We're recording this Wednesday night prior to the holiday, of course. If anything comes out about Justin Fields, that would change, any opinion I had on this game. But assuming that he's playing and assuming that he's mostly healthy, I'll be on the Bucks.
Yeah. As long as number 2 is lining up on that defensive side of the ball, Chase Young, I mean, he is a absolute monster.
Monster. Yep.
I was going to do, so I know you mentioned gun to your head. I was going to make a gun to your head segment, but I'm 99.9% sure we're going to hit all the gun to your head games. So I was like, yeah, whatever. We got all the ranked games on the card, I'm pretty sure.
I do not have one that I'm officially selecting that would be in that section, but I know you do, so I'll have an opinion on it. Next pick, Kansas State.
Ooh.
The Fighting Chris Clemens, plus 5.5. This is another matchup of two. So we got Virginia Tech, which is Fuente and Bronco Mendenhall, two fantastic coaches that I love. And then you have this game with Matt Campbell and Chris Kleeman, also who I love. But I'll take the 5.5 points here at home. Kansas State find a way to grind it out and may not get the win here, but find a way to keep it close. I'll take K-State and happily gobble up the 5.5. Skylar Thompson coming into his own. He's no Brock Purdy, but he's making moves.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of coaches you get to watch here as your favorite.
I know, it's great. Maybe one day we'll hire them at my school. Not likely, though.
No. I'm assuming this is a game you aren't playing but know that I am, and that is the Battle for the Axe, the longest uninterrupted rivalry in Division I football. His first meeting was in 1890. There's your history lesson, folks. Minnesota winning in Madison for the first time since 93, I believe, which means this will be the first time in this millennia that they will have the Axe on their sideline for a home game against the Badgers in the battle for Paul Bunyan's Axe.
That's insane to even think about.
Yeah. It's even more insane to think about that this is the most games they've won since 1906. Yeah, I mean, the amount of records that are falling in the Minnesota football program is absolutely insane. Pretty impressive stuff. So I ended up buying a half a point to make it 4 for Minnesota. So +4 at home against the Wisconsin Badgers.
You got the right side then. I'm seeing 2.5s.
Oh, really? So it's dropped down even more. I bought points. I bought the half point. I was like, wait, no, I'm just going to stick with 3.5. And it wouldn't let me go back. I was like, dang it. So I just stuck with it. It's like my little safety blanket. It moved it to -130 for me. But I think the atmosphere is going to be absolutely insane. Game day. This Wisconsin is going to have, cold, snow on the ground. Now they got those heating coils in the field, so we won't have snow on the field. It'll be nice and soft. It won't be hard because Brett Favre about broke his head open like an egg against the Bears when the Vikings were playing there. So they made sure to install a heated field. So I like the Gophers in this one. I think I just see it over and over again, and I truly believe this, that they are one of the best RPO teams in the country, if not the best. They crush you with slants.
Wow.
Half the time they won't even tell the lineman what play they're running because the ball's out of Morgan's hands so fast that they won't get 3 yards down the field, even if they are normal run blocking. So that's how you sell a fake, folks. You don't even tell your linemen that they're pass blocking.
Just tell them to block for a run. Exactly. And pray that it gets out on time.
Mm-hmm. So I just think Bateman is an absolute monster on the edge. He's going to make big plays. The defense is good enough, I believe, to stop them. Really, you just got to stop 23. Stop Taylor and you win. I think having Whitfield patrolling at the safety position is good enough to get Gopher players in the right spot and the right coverages to stop a Wisconsin passing offense that has never been nor will be prolific. So I feel good with loading the boxes and going macho. And I like the Gophers in this one. 330 spot because never in my life will I ever have Minnesota and Auburn playing a big-time game in 2 different time slots. Every big game that my 2 schools have is always at the same time. It's great. Love it.
Quick pause there because I would say I've looked at a lot of the bowl projections, and several of them have Auburn versus Minnesota in the Capital One Bowl, which is in our hometown. So, junkies, if you are out there and want to get in on this wagon, if it happens, come on down because there will be a quite sizable party in Orlando, and we got plenty of rooms for you guys. So come on down. I agree with Micah. I think the environment will be electric. I think it's a big stage that one team is used to playing on and the other one is not. So I think it's great if the Gophers, as I like to call them, can calm themselves prior. Mm-hmm. If they can't, I think they're going to get run. I agree with everything Micah said. X's and O's. I mean, I've said it a million times about this team. If you can just establish expectations that every once in a while we're going to, we compete for the West. You want this game to be worth something. They only lost 1 game this year. If they'd have lost 2, the situation is exactly the same. This becomes a semifinal as it pertains to the Big Ten championship. This is your goal as a program. So good news is you've arrived. You're getting the results that you want from hiring PJ Fleck. The bad news is I don't think you're ready for the stage. I think this will be a learning environment. This is bigger than the Penn State game. This is big. There's the Penn State game. You take the rivalry off of it. I'm just not ready to back the Gophers at this number. So this will not be a play for me. I won't be watching because I will be at the Iron Bowl, but if I had to play it, I would lay the less than 3 with Wisconsin, just because I don't trust the Gophers in the emotional spot, and I could be totally, completely dead wrong, and they win, and that is 100% possible. But again, I don't trust them because I haven't seen it. You gotta see it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I won't be watching 1 second of this game.
What about our boy? I still can picture where I was when 2003 in the Metrodome when Lloyd kicked the game winner and just immediately sprinted to the Wisconsin sideline to just take the axe out of the casing. That's still one of the greatest things I have seen in sports.
Yeah, Reese Lloyd.
Yeah, it was a absolute beatdown last year though in Madison, which was just crazy.
Yeah, bloodbath.
That the Gophers went in there and did what they did to the Badgers. But Jared, I'll let you. How many more you got? I'll let you finish out.
I got 2 more. Penn State against the State University of New Jersey. James Franklin, we all know his affinity for running up the score. He's going to do that. They're only laying 40. Rutgers blows. This is his reason to recruit the entire state of New Jersey. He's like, you're going to go to Rutgers. We beat him by 50 at their place. So, or I guess it's at their place. But, complete mismatch. Penn State coming off a tough loss last week. I think this is a get-right spot for them, and I think they win and win bigly.
Yeah,
Then I got 1 game left, and you probably know who that is.
I do know who it is.
I will have other games. I have a feeling. I'm just continuing to look through the card, and I'm just like, more games I don't want to bet on here.
Jared's
San Jose State, Army, UCLA. I mean, BYU. This is like
Jared's gonna be eating more than just
Corral
turkey.
buffet here.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Don't compare anything to the Golden Corral buffet.
Miami laying 9 points. Come on, what is this? This is insane.
All right, Mike.
So we're gonna give the listeners what they came here for, which is our breakdown.
Yeah. Let me hold on. Just one last thing. How is Diaz still alive after Miami blew that game?
It's a rebuild.
Yeah. No, I don't care if it is a rebuild. There is no way, under any circumstance ever, period, a Miami coach should lose to FIU. That
no way.
Sucks for recruiting. It sucks for a whole lot of things. That's my 2 cents.
You should not do that. And it was never close.
No. It was over. He overlooked. How do you do that?
No idea.
How do you, as that team, have an arrogance and overlook a team? Unreal.
Yeah, I don't get it. Well, then actually admit to that.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Unbelievable. Yep. We'll give the people what they want. Let's talk it. Let's talk Iron Bowl. Let's dive into it.
Best game of the year. Am I kicking this off, or are you kicking this off?
You're kicking it off.
I know who you're betting.
I'm not betting this game.
Wow.
When I bet Auburn, we lose. Because we lose. And as much as I love...
Oh, so this is like a superstition thing for you.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
So I see 3.5s out there. I think it'll get to 4. I think the narrative around this game will be Bama has one more shot to show out and beat us by 1 million to pad their resume for college football playoff. I think that presumes that Georgia loses to LSU. I think that presumes a lot of things. Mac Jones has played in 2 games, one against a completely inept Arkansas squad, another against a Western Carolina team that is glorified 1AA. I've said it now for 3 or 4 weeks. Our defense is easily in the top 3 in the country. I could make an argument that they are the best unit in the country. Front 4 is unquestioned. Linebackers in the back 4 tackle in space at a very alarming rate. So what I do know about this team and what I will be interested to see with what Kevin Steele does, Micah, and this is hopefully you'll appreciate this, is does he jam and play a little bit more man blitz style and try and cover because these Alabama wide receivers are second to none in terms of a unit, as far as I'm concerned. So the question becomes, do you jam and try and get enough pressure on Mac Jones to force him to beat you downfield, or do you play zone? And because we tackle so well in space, I view that as the more ironically, I view that as a more risky strategy. But I will be intrigued to see what the game plan is from Kevin Steele, because I think this defense, as I said, is great. I think they'll be able to hold the offense to a pretty low number. This is all going to come down to what is the offense capable of doing with Bo Nix at the helm. Are we able to move the ball up and down the field even a couple times against what is by Alabama standards, pretty pedestrian defense? So I can't wait. I made this game Bama 2, so I'm getting over that key number of 3. I think you'll get to some 4s, and I may even buy to a 4.5. But you look at Saban's splits and statistics of road favorites under a touchdown, and they're not good, especially in this game. You layer on top of that all the rivalry stuff. You layer on to, there's a multiple layers to this game. It's going to be jumping in there. It's I will say Jordan is this season had 2 very different decibel levels. One for kind of these lower end games, and then 2 for the big boys. So it's going to be bumping in there come Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what you're saying is right. Do you allow this receiving core to sit in soft spots in the zone, start to pick it apart, or do you, like you said, try and just outnumber him on the line of scrimmage and get to him quick and make him make quick reads, and hopefully he can make a mistake? It's the risk reward, and I think Steele will continue to mix and match like he's been doing all season. He's more of an aggressive type D coordinator to go with blitzes and jam man to man. You see it with Igbenogany and all those guys all season. If I'm him, I would lean a little bit more on trusting number 5 and number 3. Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown to just squeeze down the pocket naturally, let your monsters eat and generate that way, and have more people so you can have these safeties over the top. So maybe you can be a little bit more aggressive on the line in your zone coverages. So that's I am interested to see how he decides to play that. Sarkisian isn't a slouch when it comes to play calling, especially at the collegiate level.
I was going to say that caveat.
Yeah. In the NFL, not so much, but at the college level, yes, he's a very good offensive play caller. He's not a head coach. He probably wants to so now he can just drink in the locker room and be fine. Nobody cares. And like you said, the question is going to be, and I think we saw at the end of the Georgia game, is Gus has to adjust to get his freshman quarterback comfortable. If the run isn't there, that doesn't mean give up on it, but it also doesn't mean every first down you're running a dive. Go to a 2-minute, allow him to hit a hitch, a 3-yard hitch, a 5-yard slant, 5-yard out by the tight end, maybe hit the running back in the flat. It doesn't have to be dive, screen, shit, it's 3rd and long. Let me try and dial up a pass play because our route tree is garbage.
Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my 2 cents on the game. I'm not going to bet it just because I just want to cheer and scream and yell and be ticked off. I've got friends saying, hey, why don't you come over for the game? I'm like, you don't want to be around me during this game because I sit in silence, and when I do say things, it is not things you want to hear, and you'll be like, golly, what is wrong with this guy?
You don't want to hear it, exactly.
Yeah. But the second the game's over, I should be fine. So if you want to hang out with me afterwards, I should be okay.
Then we're good. After.
I'll be slightly upset, but depending on how we look offensively, it will depend on how long I can. I'll need a little bit of a bubble after the game's over if we look bad offensively to just.
I would say if we look bad, yeah.
Compress, think, write down my thoughts, throw it into a fireplace. write a strongly worded email to Auburn asking them to fire Gus Malzahn. Immediately delete it.
Man, if we lose and look bad, it's the headhunters will be out in full force.
Oh yeah, they're out there lurking. I mean, he's got an AD that didn't hire him, and it's just tough because the roster is loaded with talent.
Loaded.
So we'll see. It's gonna be a fun weekend of college football. This is honestly, it all leads up to this rivalry weekend. Throw the records out the window. Anything can happen, and that's what makes betting on these games so fun, is because the spread is pretty much based on the product for the whole season. But then this week, it's like you have no clue what's going to happen.
Significantly less significant, correct.
Yeah. It's great. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, Jared, you got anything else college football-wise you want to add?
No, stay tuned to Twitter because it's I'm feeling this card.
Jared's feeling dangerous. It's this is a
slippery
slippery slope here, folks. He is.
Yeah.
He's got out a sled and he's not even trying to fight the hill anymore. He is just on the toboggan face first, flying down the mountain into the abyss of fiscal debt.
I cannot disagree with anything that Mike has said.
Hey, there's no other better way, because then you just have an excuse. Oh, no, I got to watch this Colorado State Boise State game because I got money riding it.
I'm probably going to have Boise in that one.
There you go. See, I'm telling you, it's a dangerous game. Jared's going to have a pick for every single one, folks, so you pay attention.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
And I will
get in there, boys and girls.
I'll end this because if you're just a college football listener, I'll end it the way I did with the NFL. If you listen to us on the car ride over to the relative's house, we appreciate it. We hope we gave you lots of good information. We hope it soothes your soul. When you're sitting there watching the NFL games, plug in these bets, smile, and be happy. You're almost there. We can get through it. While everyone's talking politics at the kitchen table and why your cousin's still single and where her ex-boyfriend is from last Thanksgiving, you can be on the couch, on your phone, plugging bets, and watching football. We're going to get through it, junkies, I promise. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Michael Larson. That's Jared Larson. We're out of here.
See ya.